Does drinking water make you smarter? Hi, my name is Perry Vanakis and I'm the founder of Nutrition 90. Please remember to like, subscribe and leave a comment below so we can keep the algorithm going. Now, I was reading a paper from the European Journal of Nutrition that was come out in May in 2025, and they were looking at the effects of hydration levels and cognitive response in the elderly. This pilot study was unique in itself, as what they did was they didn't just look at one parameter of dehydration. They looked at total body weight composition, they looked at urine samples, they looked at blood samples. So they did a lot more than what other previous studies have done in regards to determining hydration levels and dehydration levels of the elderly. Now, what we found is that as we get older, your cognitive response seems to slow down. And what they did find is, which is quite interesting, is that if you were dehydrated, there was some parameters that would find that there was a decline in cognitive response, in the sense that they couldn't problem solve, they couldn't think, they'd fall behind, they get a little bit of brain fog. What they were noticing also, that there was a vast difference between men and women in this response. And what they were looking at is they're looking at how these people were losing let's say, their water levels within their body while they were getting dehydrated. And, what we're finding is that could be through, let's say, perspiration or parameters where you were outside. If you're bleeding or vomiting in some way, you're losing water, excess urination and stuff like that. And what they try to do is to try and minimize all that. They looked at people during the winter months as well, so to sort of have a bit more of a control. But there was a difference between men and women, where we found that women were finding to be, let's say, their mental function or performance was a little bit less as compared to women, but both groups did find there was a decrease in the ability to problem solve or to have, their memory was sort of starting to slow down a little bit. When assessing this group though, and this is the limitation of the study, we were finding that, between 20 to 30% of the populace at the time of the elderly that they brought in for testing were already dehydrated. So trying to determine what was happening and what wasn't happening was a little bit of a hit and miss, and this is where the problem lies with this study as well. Not only was there, let's say, a small number of participants, but the study was done over a very short period of time and needs more studies to be done and to furthermore to look into this assessment. The beauty about this though, they also looked at younger people. They looked at young adults that were healthy and active, and what they're finding is, even with a 2% decrease in dehydration, there was a little bit of change in performance and a little bit of cognitive response that changed. But again, not enough studies have been done, and there are other systematic reviews and meta-analysis that were done looking at the effects of dehydration, and the results vary. You didn't get a consistent outcome of this. What's my take on all of this? Dehydration does seem to play a role in cognitive response. In other words, if we're not well hydrated, if we're not drinking enough water, if we're not getting water into intracellular and extracellular so the body can function effectively, what we're going to find is that our brain function will diminish as well. We might find also that our performance, our physical performance that is, diminishes as well. So my take on this, make sure you drink plenty of water. And the easiest way that I like to tell people to try and determine if they're hydrated or not is to actually check the color of the urine. And if the urine is clear to just a slight tinge of yellow, then you're on point with that. You know that your hydration levels are quite well. But there are many other factors that lead to hydration. You know what I mean? Whether you're having enough electrolytes in your food and your water to maintain that water content within your body. Sodium levels plays a big thing. And then, if you've got kidney functions or inherent genetic conditions that may cause you to be dehydrated. Perry Vanakis, n90.com.au.